Going over. Here we are. Hello, everybody, once again. Um, Welcome back to the Dawns Our Voyage Holds. Um, so today, or tonight, whatever time it is, I have no idea. We are starting the first of what's actually splitting into three separate kind of mini arcs here. So the first of these that we're starting tonight is one that I'm just kind of loosely titling Into the Wilds. So that's the title you'll see on these things. And in this session, I am, as always, the Wraith, and we have joining me Brakk. Ooh, what am I doing? Say hello.
Hi, I'm Brakk.
And Ornn.
Hello, I'm a ginger and I play Ornn.
Fantastic. So since we kind of have been jumping, I don't know why I keep doing that. Sorry. Since we kind of been jumping straight into this, and for anyone who's been sort of following our stream so far, there hasn't been much background info on a lot of the characters. We're gonna sort of quick take a zip through our couple things with our characters so we can get a little more familiar with them before we start. So let's start with Brakk. So let's go through. First, let's go through what you look like. So on your sheet, we have here sharp eyes, unkempt hair, traveling clothes, professional attitude. So give me a little bit of what. Paint me that Brakk picture.
If you've read the backstory on this character, he started this journey with this group as a prisoner, and he hasn't really seen the need to change out of those clothes that he was wearing as a prisoner way back when.
I guess that's true, isn't it?
So, Brakk is wearing pretty much the most basic clothes you can possibly imagine at this time in the world. So just kind of a light shirt and pants, and I believe he has some leather armor
I
on
was gonna say you
over
have some
that
armor in there, but yeah.
that he was able to salvage from the ship before they ended up moving on over to Ollardin. But Brakk is also a pretty just normal, unassuming looking guy. Believe he has black hair, if I remember the
I think Baltishi are usually blonde.
blonde. Okay,
Yeah.
that would make So blonde hair. You're more of an expert on. He is
That's
I mean,
yeah.
a standard Balteshi male.
Where do I have?
Nothing.
Here we go. I'm scrolling down.
Carnations.
Baltish. Yeah. So light gray eyes, blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a bit of a curl or something. Baltishi are also usually on the shorter side.
Yes.
One of the shortest races actually, which is a fun dichotomy we have going on between these two characters, but we'll get to that.
Also between Brakk and my actual self at 6'2".
Yeah, I feel like all of us are pretty tall people, but
Brakk
besides the point.
Brakk is very comfortable on airplanes as opposed to me. But yeah, as you can see on his character sheet, his class is the Murder Doctor.
So it is. Yeah, I guess this is a good time to say that I've mentioned it in a couple of descriptions and things like this. This is a bit of a kind of hacked, modified, whatever version of Dungeon World. We're, for our purposes, kind of combining a few random things. We originally started this campaign in the Fate system and then switched over to Dungeon World, so there's some stuff going on between the transition there, blah, blah, blah. Suffice it to say, you probably won't find the Murder Doctor in the Dungeon World source book.
If anyone wants to play a Murder Doctor, let me know and I will I'll hit you up with with the what choices I've made so far.
Get him those deets. Great. And then the other things I would love to go through quickly here are your alignment and your bonds. So those are always good things to remind everybody and yourselves of at the beginning of a session, just to sort of flavor how we are playing. So let's go ahead and take a stroll through those.
All right. I just minimized all of those. Let me get those back open. So Brakk's alignment is responsible. He refuses to give up despite rejection or disaster. This is something his Balteshi heritage kind of drilled into him.
Very Balteshi.
Very much so. So he's the kind of guy who just, if you listen to our last session, our friend was being held hostage and being threatened with death. And we were being told to yield, but that is not Brakk's style. So Brakk just shot the guy holding her, and everyone charged, and that was very much, in his mind, the only course of action for that kind of situation. Whereas other people might think, "Oh no, we should keep our friend safe," but that's just not really where he lives. Moving on to bonds. Iridia, who is now an NPC that one of our friends was playing for a time, is a child in need of protection. And this is probably a bond that will evaporate the longer Joe is no longer here to play Iridia. But Iridia is also from a nation that very much does not get along with Brakk's nation. So
I believe they were currently at war at the time of the...
Yes.
Yeah.
She also referred to me as prisoner many times in our early sessions. Yeah. And when I'm around people who have morals as shifty as Mathos, me being considered the criminal was not something that sat well with Brakk. Moving on to Mathos, he's braver than he gives himself credit for, but he needs strength behind him. When problems arise, he is the one you want on your side.
Yeah.
I've seen Mathos charge into situations that he should not be getting himself into from a strictly mechanical sense. And that has made an impression on Brakk. It very much jives with his own alignment. So it's something that he's grown to really appreciate about Mathos. Moving on to Fawit, who is our resident psychopath. Impressively practical, ruthless, but may chafe against law enforcement and their rules. Keep an eye on her in sensitive situations. So the longer we've played, the more Brakk has come to rely on and trust Fawit. But there is still this inkling in the back of his mind that maybe she might do something that might get all of them in trouble in front of the wrong person. So that's where things stand with Fawit. And finally, Zahida, the newest member of our group, is a sensible and useful ally. See that her desire to be a hero doesn't put our group into more danger than is necessary. And that's not to say that Brakk doesn't enjoy, going out of his way to protect people. But I think at this point in Brakk's evolution as a character, he does not really see the problems of this world as something that are real problems to him. Mm-hmm. He is much more interested in still getting home than he is continuing to play the hero here and come to whatever grand culmination the powers that brought him here for.
Great. Fantastic. All right, let's jump over to Ornn. So quick run through your appearance here. So you have hard eyes, braided hair, scarred skin, and built body. Give me
He's a brick. House.
Copyright.
Yeah, can we say that? I don't know if we can say that on stream.
I don't know if we can. If you're gonna force it down.
You can sing it. You just can't play it.
We're all
Uh,
going to jail.
Yeah. So I think Dan, when we talked about it, we kind of thought kind of Nordic, I believe, is kind of where we were heading
Yeah,
with.
that's kind of the kind of the sort of world that that kind of inspiration comes from. Sorry about
I
the
think,
car noises, but
yeah, literally the picture that was up here. I don't know where that went.
I took all the artwork down because I don't know that we can show that on the stream.
Oh.
Just in case you were wondering,
Well,
it was a great picture though.
we had a great picture. That literally was it. That would have been great, so I didn't have to talk about it very much. But it was like we said like very light blue eyes, um, and yeah, I think we decided, yeah, braided hair, obviously, yeah, everything that's on there. I mean, there's not much else to say. Um, obviously, battle scarred, things like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I guess I have here. The Traxxas have dark brown eyes, and
This was an exception. We made this exception.
auburn hair. Did we? I don't know. Well,
Thick and plentiful hair.
thick and plentiful. So the thing to note about Traxxas is yeah, their sort of native land is this very harsh um, uh, frozen terrain, and they are also huge. So I have listed here that they are sort of generally in the range of like 7'7" to 8'4". So and not just tall, but also sort of built, as it says, built body. Um, so yeah, so what I had said in sitting next to a Palteshi, which is I believe the shortest of the nations, to have a Traxic who are by far the largest, is a fun thing. Um, Fantastic. And I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea to sort of mention the kind of typical Traxic, what is referred to as the Bloodfire, which is that kind of sort of berserker uh, rage type thing. That is a sort of innate uh, Traxic quality. So Ornn deals with and struggles with that himself. So let's go through your alignment and your bonds.
Okay, yeah. So alignment is endanger myself to protect someone weaker than me,
Mm-hmm.
which is practically everybody.
Yeah,
Uh,
fair.
at one point, I think that would have been different, um, from kind of his past, but now I think Ornn stands on the side of more protecting rather than fighting, um, even though sometimes he doesn't control that. Um, as for bonds, I think I want to do Fawit last.
Great.
Uh, but Kinnarenth, who is an NPC, um, I had, or Ornn had, solo uh, adventures with just him and I. So we kind of became very close. So had many theological conversations, which is one of Ornn's kind of uh, passions, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
the Traxic are a society that is very much built on a thing they call the canon, which is a sort of uh, I think along the lines of sort of like a you know, kind of a Jewish uh, Orthodox sort of religious heritage in this very sort of like codified, strict sort of rule set, mostly which comes out of uh, the behavior around the Bloodfire. So that's kind of the background that Ornn is coming from, um, and is again sort of like struggling against and sort of trying to find his way in.
mhm. Yeah, so pretty much I trust Kinnarenth and will always be honest with him. Moving on to Zahida, who Ornn didn't have, was like the last person in the party to actually meet, but from first impressions, saw that is a respectable warrior. She shows great courage and proved herself in battle. So pretty much that means that I can trust her to protect others. Ornn is always the one to throw himself in front of I guess in this fantasy world, an arrow. Then another. So it's nice that he has someone else that can do that. Moving on to Brakk.
That's
Kids, hold on a second. I gotta say goodnight real quick.
AJ. Io Ginger has 12 children. So for anyone who's wondering.
And what's interesting while that is that currently Brakk does not have a bond with Ornn. So this will be an interesting thing to explore where that relationship
Well,
goes.
I have a very low charisma score, and Ornn didn't exist for a little while.
This is true. Yeah, I mean, in terms of, like I said, in terms of timeline, originally it was three of you that got pulled over, right? It was Brakk, Mathos, and Iridia.
Yes.
And then not too long after that, once you guys had gotten to Third Shoulder, is when Fawit and Ornn got pulled in to Ollardin from Tandara specifically. And then you guys sort of had some adventures. Ornn left for a little while. Hey, what's going on? And then Zahida joined in, and then you guys all those guys had a bunch of adventures, and then Ornn rejoined after that for a while. So, yeah, so that's kind of the general outline of the timeline of characters.
It's been a thing.
It's been a thing, yeah.
So Brakk, I kind of I wouldn't say the beginning, but once coming back, I feel like we had some kind of good connection. I mean, much better than mine with Fawit or Mathos. But in the last fight specifically, we were kind of on the same wavelength and knew exactly kind of what was happening. We both had the intention of just kind of barging in, like your alignment would show, and for me it was just kind of a great yes. Yeah. So for him, because I am much stronger and powerful, it's more about protecting somebody who can do a lot, but maybe not protect themselves as well.
Sizist.
Yes. Exactly.
gotta protect the squishies.
Right. Pretty much it was just my way of saying, all right, I can protect somebody like really squishy and throw myself in front of them. And lastly, there is Fawit, who Ornn does not have a good relationship with at all. But he has kind of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation going on, and the darker side of Ornn gets along very well with Fawit, and they kind of feed off of each other in battle when Ornn gets to that point. So, in game terms, it means that pretty much around Fawit and Fawit only, Ornn will become the monster that he really is. And yeah, that's all my bonds.
That's great. I love it. It's so good.
That's dark. The monster that he really is. God.
Yeah. Well, were you? Oh, that's right. None of you guys were around when Ornn went through the whole getting the animancy soul beast thing. That was just
what's your aminal?
That was just you.
Right. Only Ornn knows that, and nobody has, or people have. I'm pretty sure somebody asked him, and he just ignored it. He actually has it wrapped up because he is ashamed by what he was given.
Mm-hmm. Because the imprint of your soul animals, your soul beast, is sort of like imprinted like a tattoo or a what's the word I'm thinking, like a brand on the inside of your sort of palm. That was the thing that happened to all these people as they were introduced to animancy, which is a system of magic that exists for humans. and a race called Infave. In this world, that was not a thing at all in Tandara. So.
Yeah, I mean, but for anybody who's listening or goes back and listens to this, it is a dragon.
Oh,
Gave it
Well,
away.
yeah, I mean,
I was looking forward
Scott
to
actually knew it.
discovering it.
Scott, Scott actually.
Oh
knew
right,
it.
he listened into that session. That's right.
In that small little session, but
It was it was really good. It was a really
it was
great.
super good. I legitimately got goosebumps, and I came up with it. So I mean, wow, what a storyteller I am.
So good.
Yeah.
Great. One quick business bookkeeping thing. So Brakk, you were kind of the keeper of the coin here.
Yeah.
Since the party is splitting, do we want to have an agreed upon splitting of the funds as well, or?
I mean, no. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say no to that.
Okay,
I mean
if that's
Brakk doesn't care about the money, but he is trying to keep us all alive here.
Are you? Well, maybe we'll come.
I mean, are we gonna create like the first national bank of Brakk?
I mean, hey, play to find out what happens.
Also, where is all of our money?
Is it on the ship? Is that a thing?
It was supposed to be.
To you. Oh, because you don't have it on you right now.
Oh, there's the horizons. Never mind. There it is.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it's all
I was
on
looking at Question, and that's a dead ship, and we should take it off of our.
Oh, it's all the way at the bottom. Horizons is at the top.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking
Wait, are
at.
the ship images removed as well?
Yeah.
Oh no, it looks
I know.
so gross.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we have 1,000 coins in coins and 800 coins in precious stones.
Yeah. So you guys got the monies. And that is aboard the ship. All right, great. Okay, so
Before we do anything, I'd like to buy three or four what are they called?
I don't know, what are they called?
Bundles of arrows.
Oh, great.
The term
Yep.
was.
Go ahead and mark that off, and
So they're weight 1. So I want.
Okay, so while you're taking care of that, so after the kind of the big fight thing that you guys had with the Ebon Armada infiltrators that were attempting to escape after this sort of tense situation that had been going on in New Water Nest here. In the couple days after that, things have calmed down in ways in a little bit. You're getting news from Third Shoulder, which is the next kind of the other town on this Toberon, that was basically destroyed. That you guys saved all the people, which are sort of now refugees on your ship, and so there's news coming from there that most of the sort of Gale Walker horde and the cartographer that you had seen that sort of overran the town that you were sort of defending it from has basically disappeared, and no one really knows why. People suspect that there are still sort of some elements there of these Gale Walkers. They're not completely gone, but the vast majority of this horde has dissipated and gone somewhere. Most of the people were quite busy with sort of making sure that they were ready to be potentially sieged or attacked or whatever, that they weren't sort of concerned with following this horde and tracking where they disappeared to. So there's still sort of some tense things going on in the city here. Obviously, Lelesh was kind of in a spot with this. Lelesh being the Velmiri counselor, basically, who's one of the communers advisors. The communer being the young Velmiri who is basically in charge here in New Water Nest. And with this this large group of Ebon Armada that kind of appeared out of the woodwork of this town and tried to escape as they were getting desperate, the going and cleaning them all up actually revealed a lot of those people and who they were, and people realized like, hey, wait, that's like the guy I know from down the street, or hey, wait, that's the guy who ran this thing or whatever. People in the government, people in a lot of positions of influence and whatnot in the city, and turned out to be these Armada infiltrators. And that's so there's still some amount of kind of tizzy over that in this city. There's a lot of there's a loss of tension over the imminent threat of invasion from the Galewalker horde, but that threat is still kind of lingering. The authorities are trying to figure out in those situations where people were found to be Armada infiltrators, trying to figure out like, oh, they were working for this group. Are they, is that whole group bad, or was it just them, or what is it? There was this little session we did with Mathos was exploring a little bit of that, which was fun. So that's kind of the general sort of mood of this town. So do you guys have any just quick ideas of what you guys might be doing in the sort of day or two afterwards that all this is going on, as things in some respects are sort of calming down a little bit in some ways?
I think Brakk probably spends most of that time with the wounded in this kind of this makeshift camp we're creating. This little refugee camp right outside of
Outside the walls here, over
yeah
over in this is like this area here.
yeah. I think he's also in a lot of ways this little refugee camp reminds him a lot of home, with people living all on top of each other and just kind of the bare bones necessities of life. So he's kind of more comfortable here than he is in this like sprawling metropolis that's way more interested in beauty and kind of pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, and culture, and yeah, for sure. Any thoughts there, Ornn?
Yeah, I think Ornn is again just kind of like in his own room, really reflecting on the fight that had happened.
And this is back in the ship.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of just trying to figure out what is right and wrong in these situations, because he was a big part of saving a lot of people, but at the same time, to do that, he had to become
You had to let loose. Yeah.
so terrible. And so I think he's just struggling with that, and I think he's not getting any rest or sleep, and he's just kind of in a grumpy mood.
Yeah. Are you are you so you're trying to stay by yourself? I think at some point Kinnarenth tries to check on you, just to sort of see how you were doing in that, because he and some others sort of swooped in at the end of that fight with Iridia and them to kind of help clean up. Is that something you guys like sort of sit and talk over, or?
I don't think so. I don't think this time, because the last time that we after the fight on the ship, the other ship,
Oh yeah,
uh,
uh-huh.
he was a little bit disappointed in Ornn, and I think the relationship might have been a little. It's like a little like weird right now.
Yeah, sure.
Not something that like affects it. Kind of like an argument that you have with like a sibling, and you're
Yeah.
just like, I just don't feel like today's the day. Like I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he you guys are at the place where I think he respects that and isn't going to press you. Um, but in the couple days following, the two of you and Kinnarenth, um, who just to sort of reiterate is a Barblish, which is one of the races here in Tandara, or in Ollardin. So he is a native of this world, and was the first one you kind of found you guys and helped get you to a place where you could find some answers to things. Um, are called in to meet with Lelesh at the Communer's Palace. Um, so I'm assuming that is a summons that you guys would answer.
Yeah,
Yes,
for
yeah.
sure.
That's the person that we saved, correct?
Correct.
Okay, sorry, I'm still getting used to this name because
Yeah,
not one
absolutely. um, so yeah, so you go and sort of meet with her. You're ushered into. Oh, that's terrifying. Sorry, there's child toys that are going off in my house here. Um,
hate that. Those little like seats that you sit on, like they're like little
I don't even
little
know
like
how that went
bikes.
off.
It's like a
Whatever.
dog, and its head goes back and forth, and it sings. It's literally the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Uh huh. Let me go turn that off while I'm talking here.
That
Um,
game goes off at like 1 in the morning when you're playing video games. And it's like, oh, it's me. It's like, all right, guys, I'm going to bed. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Or if I don't talk to you tomorrow, it's because I was killed by a child's toy.
um, anyway, so you guys are ushered into Lelish's office here, basically. Um, and again, as a reminder, she is a Velmiri, which is a race that is mostly covered in feathers.
She's a
Um,
bird.
it's sort of like an amphibious bird. um, but really, I mean,
She's a bird dragon.
mostly the bird stuff is just the feathers. There it is. Yeah. So there you go. If you're watching the stream, feel like reading that. Um, they and she is older. She's an elderly Velmiri here. And you are ushered into her office. There's like a little kind of bath pool thing off to one side. She's got a bunch of neatly organized books and papers and stuff all around. And she welcomes you in to come sit. And you can see her. She's been bandaged up and she's moving a little slower than usual, but she is still still sharp, of wit and kind of her more or less her usual self. Just a little bit on the weary side, but she brings you in um, and informs you that she specifically, on behalf of the communer, um, would like to hire you, the three of you, for an assignment. She explains that the reason that she was out that night, where she got captured by the Ebon Armada, was to meet with a contact of hers, um, who had what they described as urgent information concerning some things that were going on. She didn't get much more than that, and she had gone to this meeting that was supposed to happen, and in doing so was ambushed by Ebon Armada, they had apparently found out about the meeting, and in their desperation sort of pounced on that, um, took Lelesh captive, and killed the contact that she was supposed to meet with. That was, you guys kind of walked in on that sort of scene of carnage, when you guys were running through to find her. So that's what that was. So she explains this this contact, whose name was Ornn, there in the chat. Ornn was a human, and was a contact of hers that was sort of had been out in the wilds, and monitoring and dealing with a few things on behalf of Lelesh, and like I said, sort of said that she had some urgent news that she didn't say much more about. And so, since Ornn had been killed, she was not able to find out what that urgent news was. And the way she speaks about it, it's urgent enough in her mind that it is quite concerning. And so she explains to you that basically all the information that she has is that she can direct you to where Ornn's camp was out in the wilds, and then hopes from there that you can sort of find some information about what was going on, what she was so concerned about, and then hopefully do something about it. So she explains that the information she has about the camp was, she kind of has a general geographic area as to where it would be. She pulls out a map of the surrounding area, surrounding the new surrounding area of Geltanok here, the Tobron, which had just recently moved. And so she had some new maps drawn up, and after the move, and so she kind of points out this spot on the map where this camp was, and explains that the camp, she was told, was in the hollow of a large burned waterbark tree. I'll pop that in the chat for you so you can see. So that is kind of the information that she has there, and another thing that is concerning her fairly deeply is that there is a like a piercing wound, basically, on her arm that they found, that wasn't from the massacre in the meeting, that had already been sort of bandaged up and was starting to heal. So that is a thing that had happened before. So when, before she came in to sort of try and relay this news. Do you guys have any questions for Lelesh while you're here?
Yeah, if this is so important, why are you having outsiders handle this for you? Why isn't the city guard taking care of it?
As I'm sure you have seen, the city guard is quite occupied at the moment, unfortunately. Our resources are stretched very thin here in the wake of this Armada infiltration. I wish that I could send more and give more help, but you have proved yourselves capable, and have gained my trust, for which I thank you deeply.
Ornn says, most importantly, how are you feeling?
I appreciate you asking. I am tougher than than these wounds. I have endured this long in this world, and I think it will take more than that to shuffle me off of it.
Okay. Ornn smiles a little bit, just like cracks a little smile. Not one you see much. It's kind of ugly looking, actually. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Good to go.
Great. All right. Well, she thanks you, and you guys can sort of start going to make your preparations. So you will be going out into the Gel Wilds, so off of Geltanok, the Toberon, which is sort of the more even for the amount of wilderness that is exists on Geltanok between the two cities, between New Waternest and Third Shoulder, it's still a more tame area. And I think this is stuff that Kinnarenth can tell you, is that once you get down onto the into the Gale Wilds, it is dangerous territory. We would do well to prepare ourselves well for this. Because you guys had flown around most of the time up to this point. So don't have a ton of experience, kind of being down in it. So yeah, if there's anything you guys want to, kind of stock up on, there is at least one other thing that I want to make sure we get to before you guys leave.
Do we need to worry about like food rations and stuff?
Yeah, I think Kinnarenth can tell you that basically the based on the location that Lelesh showed on the map, you should be able to make it there in about a day, but then you don't know what what will go on from there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so maybe get a couple of rations. I have 4 gold. 4 coins.
Well, I mean, you have the stuff on the ship that you have access to.
Well, now I'm in my personal stash. I now have 1, and I'm adding another thing to my thing.
And
I'm good to go on rations
fantastic.
and arrows.
10 rations.
There's one more thing. Let me drop you this in. I should have had this ready. Let me find this real quick. So we are going to be making use of some rules from a like a supplement system, basically called the Perilous Wilds.
Cool.
There are we've been using a few. Oh man, where is this? All right, you know what? Let me do it this way.
Real quick, Dan, I did have one more question.
Yeah,
kind of cleaning
absolutely.
up character-wise, real quick. Do we start at level 0 or level 1?
It should be level 1.
Okay, level 1. So if I'm level 5, that means I would have leveled up 4 times. Okay, so that means I would have. So I'm getting to a point here. I'm not just like stupid with math. Does that mean that my okay, I'm stupid with this though. My modifiers, I should have 5, or I should have 4 added onto my thing. Correct?
Yes, from the base values.
Cool. Well, I figured out how to do it then.
Okay, great.
So I am missing 1.
You are missing 1. Okay.
Yes, so I'm gonna add that really quick. I don't know where to add it, but I'm gonna add it. Constitution can't go higher than 18.
18 is the max. Yes.
Okie dokie then. We are going to. Maybe I'll do 4. Does that do anything? That does nothing.
Oh, there you are.
How do I know if it does anything?
Okay, I'm uploading a PDF into the Discord. If you want to reference stuff, basically the stuff we're going to be using from there is we're using some things that they deal with followers, because they do, I think, a better job of than the base system, and then also the travel stuff that is a little bit more robust as well. So the other thing I want to make sure we address is Brakk. Do you keep your promise to the bird?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Great. We should do that real quick then.
All right. I had forgotten about that since last session, although I meant to do it at the end of last session. So I would like to retcon a little bit before I left Lelesh's office. I think I would have asked her one question before I go.
Yes.
What is the? And he looks a little embarrassed to be even asking this question. The finest establishment for animal food in the city.
She chuckles a little bit, and she gives you the name of a place to look. She says there are a number of shops in the Crescent that may be able to help you there, but in my experience, there is a small shop in the Mummers Quarter that I have always found to be the best for quality. And she kind of gives you directions as to where that would be.
All right. I think and not wanting Ornn or Kinna to see this thing happen. I think Brakk would say, "I will meet you at whatever gate of the city we need to be leaving for this thing to happen."
Mm-hmm.
And then he would head for the Mummers Quarter.
Fantastic. All right, so you go and find this shop. Let's pull up our equipment and services and see how much. I don't know that they have any food besides people food in here. So what kind of food are you getting in here? I think it's probably going to be like a coin, 1 coin.
So I think he would. I mean, does he even know what the name of that animal that he talked to was? Like, what kind of?
I don't know. Do you?
Some kind of bird horse, right?
Some kind of bird horse.
Yes, I think he. So I think he'd walk in and say, I need your finest feed for a riding bird. A riding bird. What are they called?
So I think the creature behind the counter here is I think this is a Hothenboren, sort of an older, we'll say it is a male, so a male like person head and a male animal head. And looks a little bit kind of scraggly, especially the animal head is sorry, the human part of it is a little scraggly. I think the animal head of it is so the head that's like a bull or a bison or something is very very well like groomed and kept. um, and you walk in and so you ask the question and he goes, a riding bird? Well, like what kind of riding bird? You talking about like a um and he lists off like 5 or 6 different types of bird names.
um, I think Brakk would describe it.
Mm-hmm. This is a great opportunity for me to describe what this bird looks like.
Yeah,
So
because
this,
we didn't do it last time.
because I didn't do it last time because I was like, oh yeah, there's a
Bird horse.
bird horse thing here. Okay, so this is a bird that is fairly large. So I would say upwards of like a horse in size. Um, uh, and the shape of the body is something more akin to like an ostrich or like a peacock, where the body itself is kind of on the plumper side, and the neck sort of comes out from the lower front side, and is more or less kind of smaller and not straight, but it's not tapered. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so the back of the this bird is would be higher than the top of a horse, but it has sort of long, fairly spindly legs that are surprisingly strong. I don't know if you would know that just from looking at it, but and the colorings are sort of like browns, little bits of blues, but nothing like crazy or flashy. It has a long pointed and fairly thin beak, and the lower half of that beak kind of can expand, sort of like a pelican does, in a way. And it's got this basically like a beard, more or less, like this sort of tufts of feathers that kind of run down below its beak, and down the front of the neck, which are kind of more brightly colored, like blues and reds and greens and stuff like that. And then it also has this sort of small tuft of tail feathers that leads into like 3 to 5 very very long tail feathers as well, that end in that same kind of like blues and greens and reds, like little speckled and small stripes of color and stuff like that. And while you saw this thing in the stable, and when I was talking to you, you could see that it could kind of like swish those couple long tail feathers around, like a horse's tail or something. And when I'm talking about long, I mean like probably like at least like 8 or 9 feet or
Man
something
length.
long. Yeah. So you describe that kind of bird, and as soon as you start talking about the sort of the colorings of the feathers and stuff, and you go, oh, you're a bearded keft. You're talking about a bearded keft, yeah?
As good a name for it as any.
Uh, yeah, I suppose. So, okay, so you're looking for some feed for your keft here?
Yes, finest you have. I somewhat owe it.
You,
Don't ask.
okay, never mind. All right, let me see. I think I have some fresh fish out in the back. And he sort of trundles away back out the back door. Sort of like pulling his pants up a little bit, um, and comes back with a fairly sizable um, pail of fish. There are all sorts of variety of fish. Some of them are sort of weird, that you've never seen before. lots of a couple of them have like big fins and stuff like that. And since you asked for the best you have, he's gonna say, all right, here you go. Here's your that'll be 3 coins. Is there anything else?
How long will this feed the Keft for?
Probably a couple hours.
Uh,
They're hungry things,
yes. I need at least 3 days.
Oh, all right. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a bit of a discount. We'll call it 10 coins, and I'll send a wagon with you.
Would you take 9?
Take 9 coins, he says. Look, I mean, the city is... Things are in an uproar. You got walls exploding, and who even knows what. All right, fine, 9 coins.
I appreciate it, sir. And I'll hand over the 9 coins, and after I do, then I'll tell him that Lelesh spoke most highly of you and your establishment.
Oh, she did she? Yeah, I mean, she's come in here a couple times, but that's a right fine endorsement. I very much appreciate that. You send her my best.
I will, sir.
And he gives you a little like kind of salute thing, and the bullhead like kind of snorts. Yeah, so he gets together like a sort of a small wagon full of buckets of fish for you, and has it delivered for you. So you get it sent, or are you going with it, or are you getting it sent?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Oh no, I'm going with it.
So you go back to this sort of inn with this stable. You can tell that it's in a bit of a disarray. There's attempted sort of repairs have started. You can when you get over there, you can see some sort of workers like arguing with the innkeeper. And there's still the lame normal horse, or mostly normal horse in here, and your friend the bearded Keft.
Are there any? I mean, obviously there are people milling about. Then.
Yeah, I mean, some.
I ask around and ask who the stable.
So the stable belongs to it's basically belongs to the inn. So this would have been like people coming into the inn. And
all right. Well, then I go to the innkeeper and ask who that specific Keft belongs to.
So the innkeeper is a human woman, and like I said, she was sort of arguing with some workers over some things, and she says, "Oh, that thing, yeah, I'd have to check. I'm not sure I know. It's been there for a little while. Probably should have gotten rid of it for all the food that it goes through. I've just been kind of giving it scraps out the back of the inn because I felt sorry for it."
Brakk looks a little troubled at that. He says, "Could you find out who its owner was? And for the time being, I've brought," and he motions to the cart full of fish.
She sort of like kind of eyes wide, sort of stares at it and like looks back at you like a little confused. And okay.
See that it eats its fill. I I can't explain why this is happening. And then I think at that he would just kind of walk over towards, take a bucket off the cart filled with fish and make his way over to the keft.
Great. And so as we've established before, you are able to can you animals understand you as well? Is that right? Yeah, that's
I
right.
assume so.
Okay. Um so the
Man, that'd be a shitty shitty thing if they didn't.
um
I can
so
speak with and understand animals.
okay, there you go. You can speak with. So you bring this over, and as soon as you start sort of walking towards the keft with this fish, you can see it kind of brighten up a little bit. It sort of like does a little bit of a hop and sort of like skitters its feet excitedly on the ground, and make some comment about you bringing delicious swimmers.
I think as I approach, I'd say, "Do you remember me, friend?"
And it, I don't know, would it nod? Maybe not. I mean, it's just like sort of does that weird thing that birds do, where its like body stays in the same spot, but its head goes like up and down a bunch. Especially with this long, skinny neck it has, and says, "Yes, yes, you said you would bring food, and you did."
Yes, I'm not one to break my word, and I set the bucket of fish down in front of it.
I think within seconds it just like smashes its face into the bucket, and you see, like I said, that sort of like lower part of its beak just like fill massively with all of these fish, and just like takes most of the whole first bucket like a whole. And it's got this big sort of drooping thick beard full of fish that it's sort of like squiggling around and swallowing and sort of making happy bird noises.
How long have you been here, friend?
Here, I, many, many days, many suns, I have been here.
Who brought you here?
Who? I. It has been many suns. It is hard to remember.
You don't remember the last time someone rode you?
No?
I've brought more fish than this. I will return.
Good.
I think huh?
Good.
Good. So yeah, Brakk, I think, walks back to see the innkeeper and see if they've discovered anything.
She says, "Wait, you wanted me to check like now? Look, I've got stuff going on here. I can't just be running favors for some random guy asking about a bird. Look, do you see the state of this stable? I gotta get this fixed. And all the workers in town? Ah, shit, this is a mess."
Well, let me take one thing off your plate then. I've spoken with the Kef.
You what?
I said what I said.
Okay.
It's been in your stable long enough that it does not remember who its master is.
Well, you know what they say about kefts. They don't have the greatest memories. But okay.
It's also been in your stable long enough that you don't remember who its master is,
Well,
or how long you've been feeding it.
That's I suppose that's true.
So at this point, you are doing nothing but losing money keeping this animal around.
Well, yeah, you can say that again.
I would like to take it off your hands. And in return, I will leave the remainder of this bucket of, or this wagon of feed, for the other animals that you are currently lodging.
I see. Well, and you can definitely see like she puts her sort of like haggle face on. She goes into like that kind of innkeeper mode, and she's like, "Ha, I see what you're saying. It's a generous offer, sure, but
Before she can even start haggling, and background on my thought process here, Brakk is not the kind of person to use his connections to get a better deal on, for instance, buying a bunch of buckets of fish for something that he promised to do.
sure,
But he very much is, when he feels like someone's about to try to take advantage of him, when he's trying to do something that he believes is right. What is Lelesh's position?
She's have I? Let me see if I have that specifically written anywhere. I think I've just been calling her an advisor
So an advisor to the
communer.
Communer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Brakk would say something like, "This animal assisted in helping direct us to the people who had taken the communer, or the advisor Lelesh, a few evenings past. And I would see that it is put up in a good home where it is taken care of. Not that you, my good lady, are not doing so, but I see no reason for it to burden you any longer."
And she looks at you for a second as she's like sort of mid haggling, and she's like, "Wait, hang. You said the bird helped?"
I think Brakk would kind of pinch the bridge of his nose, and say, "By whatever gods there are, they have chosen to give me the cruel trick within my animancy of being able to speak with and understand animals. And I was with the party that gave chase to the Armada infiltrators."
At this point, I think she's sort of giving you like that sort of like smile and nod kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I motion for her to follow me.
I think she does so kind of begrudgingly.
Yes, into the
To the stable?
into the stable, yes.
Okay.
And I walk up to my Keft friend and I say, "I'm going to ask the innkeeper to speak with you and tell you something. I'm then going to ask you to repeat that to me. Do you understand?"
I think it sort of like cocks its head a little bit and then kind of bobs it up and down.
All right. And so I walk back to the innkeeper. I say, "Please go and whisper into the Keft's ear holes the most esoteric and incomprehensible thing that you think I would never be able to guess."
She's like, look, I, it's it's nice what you're doing for this bird, but I've got stuff I need to get done. All right, look. Leave the fish. Take the bird wherever you want to take this bird. Just just leave me alone, all right?
Very well.
And then
And
she
Brakk, Brakk just goes over and unhooks the keft and walks away.
fantastic.
You're coming with me, friend. Do you have a
Yeah?
name? What do you call yourself?
I do not understand. I am me.
I will call you Meep.
Okay.
And Meep the keft joins the party.
Joins the entourage. Fantastic. Okay, so you guys
I am me.
Am I playing again?
Yes.
Solid 40 minutes of not. So good.
Well, we had to take
There was
care of
important bird business.
take care of some bird business. Great. So, so you guys are sort of getting geared up to head out, and you make your way and out of the city. I think Kinna says that probably the best way to sort of get off the Tobron is to follow the course of Sivwesti, the river, basically, and then you'll be out in the Gel Wilds. So you you spend your day. Are you bringing Meep with you, or are you leaving Meep on the ship?
I'm leaving Meep on the ship for this one.
Leaving Meep on the ship for this one. I think Meep is a little bit sad about that.
Oh.
But that's that's fine.
Dangerous. I don't want to risk Meep the first day we get her.
That's true. Great. Okay, so so you guys head out and through the territory, like I said, on Geltanok here is this most of the flora around here are sort of big sort of pine-like trees with sort of like needles instead of leaves, but they're all like a bunch of different colors. Sort of like greens and reds and blues and yellows in these sort of like subtle earthy tones. And it's definitely a different experience than you guys have had so far, sort of walking across land. And there's not really any large established roads sort of going out off of the thing here. Most of this the travel sort of on and off the Tobron from the cities would be done by airship. So, but you make your way. So now we're gonna do some rolls. So we are now getting into the Gel Wilds, and as soon as you you have to do a little bit of a kind of climbing down. There's some waterfalls and stuff where Sivwesti is sort of crashing over falling over the side of the Toberon here. And as soon as you get down sort of onto the ground, it does kind of feel different here. The foliage and the trees and plant life and stuff is different. It's a lot less unified. There's a lot of weird, crazy things. Things in a lot of areas feel like closer. It feels much more kind of chaotic in the way that the landscape is kind of laid out. It's not like that you have like huge sections of meadows and whatever. That there's a lot of things kind of going on all at once. So as we make our way through dangerous territory, if you have up the Perilous Wilds, you can look through there. I'm pulling that up myself. Through to the travel and exploration moves. Most of this is kind of similar to the things that were going on in the original Dungeon World book, but there are some slight differences. So we are looking at the Undertake a Perilous Journey move here. So when you travel through dangerous lands, and not on a safe route, which is what you're doing, indicate the course you want to take on the map and ask the GM how far you should be able to go to be able to get before needing to make camp, which is its own move. If you're exploring within a set destination, indicate which way you go. So, like I said, it'll probably take, by estimation, about a day to get to the site of this camp. Then choose one party member to scout ahead and one to navigate, resolving the moves in that order. Kinnarenth is fully capable of making one of these moves himself. It will be a roll as well, but that is a thing that he is capable of doing if you so choose to have him do that. So first we'll make the scout ahead move, which is when you take point and look for anything out of the ordinary. Roll plus whiz. And then after that is resolved, we'll have someone navigate, which is when you plot the best course through dangerous or unfamiliar lands. Roll plus int. And things will happen.
I have +1 to wisdom, but not plus to any. I have nothing in intelligence, so.
Okay.
I have a +2 to intelligence, but scouting sounds more my
new thing.
More your deal.
Which is kind of funny because that's wisdom and not intelligence. So how do we go about that?
Well,
I mean, I can just do it.
Well, I think Kinna, what are I feel like he could very much navigate for us.
Mm-hmm. That's entirely possible. So just to sort of go over how that would work mechanically, let me pull this up. So he is, it's based off his quality, so he is quality +2. So he would be, this would fall under the do their thing move. So when a follower does something chancy within the scope of their tags or moves, roll plus quality.
So you get a +2.
So he would be rolling +2, yeah.
Well, yeah, then he can do that then.
So you want to have Kinna navigate. I think that makes sense in fiction as well, as he sort of knows his way roughly around.
Well, at least he's from this world.
He's from this world, and I mean he is kind of by nature kind of a bit of a wanderer. I mean, if you remember, when you first got here, you found him out in the wilds here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's certainly an area he is sort of comfortable and used to. And in fact, even as you get out into the city and you get out into the wilds, I think you see him kind of fall into a slightly different sort of posture that in some ways feels a little more relaxed is not the word I want, but more comfortable while still being like alert. It's like when you see I don't know what's a good example, like an athlete or something, the way when they sort of move into like, oh, I'm on like the basketball court now, like I have a certain way I like posture and move that I'm well practiced at. It's that kind of a thing that he's sort of falling into here when you guys get out into the wilds. Brakk, if you're going to make that scout ahead, go ahead and roll plus whiz. Why don't you go over here? You rolled a 10. And everybody can see this now because I positioned the window the proper way.
Good work.
Yeah, go me. Learning things about streaming. So on a 10 plus, choose 2 from the list below. The options are: you get the drop on whatever lies ahead, you discern a beneficial aspect of the terrain, a shortcut, shelter, or tactical advantage, describe it, you make a discovery, ask the GM, or you notice a sign of nearby danger, ask the GM what it is and what it might signify.
Oh. Well, gosh, the top and bottom ones seem like they are almost mutually exclusive. If I get the drop on something, then I've clearly identified that it's a danger.
Well, but noticing a sign of something and getting a drop on that something are different things. Like noticing a sign is like, oh, I noticed like here is where there's like, bears have been rubbing up against the trees and marking their territory and stuff like that. So I can see that there are bears in this area. Whereas with the getting the drop on it is like you actually sort of, stumbling into an area where you see some bears themselves. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Could you give me that list again?
It is get the drop on whatever lies ahead. Discern a beneficial aspect of the terrain, such as a shortcut, shelter, or tactical advantage. Describe it. You make a discovery. Ask the GM. You notice a sign of nearby danger. Ask the GM what it is and what it might signify. So just to be clear on that, so there are these discoveries and dangers are 2 separate things. So a discovery is anything the party finds that is interesting but not actively dangerous. Might be something beneficial, like a steadying or freshwater spring, something that begs investigation, like an overgrown ruin, or an impediment, such as a bog or a chasm. A danger is anything which, if left unchecked, may be harmful. Traps and monsters are 2 common types of dangers. A danger encountered in the course of a journey may be incidental, or it may be a hint of something larger.
I'm going to do discovery and nearby danger.
Okay, great. So that's the noticing the sign of the nearby danger?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is over the course of, basically over the course of your travel during the day here. So let's start with the danger. So like we were sort of describing before, you definitely notice how the land itself gets more dangerous here, and I think in this sort of like section of it, you begin to find. I think like I was just talking about, you begin to find markings that even though you don't know exactly what kind of animals and things inhabit this world and this area, you see clear markings of some type of large, animal that you would guess would be some kind of dangerous to you. And being that you are sort of scouting ahead here, I would normally say that like that's something that, like Kinnarenth would be able to tell you, like, oh hey, yeah, that's one of these things. But so there's things like like toppled trees and big score marks in rocks and dirt and stuff like that. Sort of classic kind of territorial markings type things. So you are kind of in the territory of a fairly large
What's
beast.
it?
What's it? Yeah, and then so I think one of the other things that you notice with that is around some of the areas where you see these types of markings. You also notice in sort of small groups these little they are kind of the size of like a hummingbird or something, so like pretty small bird, but they're somewhere a cross between like a hummingbird and like some kind of an insect. um, so they've got they've got a little bit of feathers, but they've also got some like sort of chitin, um, and their wings are like a combination of like wings and insect wings or whatever, but they do have that kind of long um, thing that could be some kind of a beak, could be some kind of a proboscis. Is that what they're called on insects? Um, but they're not the most pleasant looking things. They're sort of like bright and colorful, but they're a little unsettling. But you see them in a lot of sort of areas around, um, like I said, sort of these significant territory markings. And just to reiterate, these are sort of like big. Um, uh, Markings, so you can tell that this thing is quite large. Um, yeah, I mean, just to give you some example on that, I'm thinking, somewhere in the area of like a little larger than like, um, you know, like an elephant or like a mammoth or something.
Okay.
So big. And that is your sign of nearby danger.
Like,
What's that?
we talking like Joom big, or
Probably a little bigger than a Joom.
that's what
Um,
attacked us at the very beginning, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm. And those I'm thinking are the size of on par size wise with like an elephant or something.
Okay.
Or like a big rhino or whatever.
Sir Joom.
Joom. And then Discovery was your other one, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's discover something. Um, so I think you are able to find a in these sort of territory markings you find the carcass of some kind of other sort of larger animal, like horse sized kind of thing, that is torn up and stuff. You find a lot of those little hummingbird bug things. They're sort of like kind of picking at it, and maybe like trying to drink blood off of it or something like that, like mosquitoes would. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's in still. You would be able to tell in good enough shape that you can use it. So I will give each of you an extra ration, like a full. It's 5 uses that each ration is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is something that you can sort of strip some meat off of and whatnot, and get some use out of that. So that'll be basically 5 more uses of rations
All right.
here for each of you.
One ration.
So make sure you mark that as well, Ornn. And that is your discovery.
Wait, can I talk to the birds?
The little bird things.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You can certainly try that. They, like I said, they sort of have this kind of unsettling appearance to them. I think they also have this unsettling sort of voice about them. It's hard to get much um, sort of coherent thought out of them, especially because they're sort of in little small herds ish. But they're definitely the ones you see on the body are sort of flying around it, making remarks like blood, blood, food, food, things like that. I think you in a couple sort of random remarks from the birds, you hear some references to what they refer to as mother. But other than that, I don't think you get much.
All right.
Other than being a little unsettled.
Yeah. I don't like those guys. All right.
Okay. So now it is time for Kinna to make his navigate. AJ, why don't you roll this one? So this will be 2d6 plus 2 for his quality.
Nice. 2d6. No, I don't know how to do it.
Slash
R.
Slash R space 2d6
Slash
plus 2.
R space 2d6. Oofa doof.
9.
9.
Oh, you didn't add the plus 2. You can type in 2d6 plus 2 and we'll add
Okay, cool. I didn't want to
Um,
just make another bad oops.
Well, I mean, he can roll again if he wants to.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's get it right.
No, that's fine. That's what we'll take
Let's
that.
do
So that is a 9.
We tried.
We tried. So that is a 9. AJ, since you're the one sort of with him, I will let you make an aid roll if you would like, because we could bump that up to a 10 if you succeed.
I would like to aid.
So roll plus bond with Kinnarenth, which you have one. So 2d6 plus 1. Aid, it might give you the ask for that prompt if you roll aid or interfere.
Do I click on his name or do I just do it again?
You should roll. Should be rolling the move aid or interfere.
Ah, look at that. Plus bond, which
So
would
if you
be
click
plus
on
1.
that, so plus 1. Does it prompt you when you roll that?
Yeah, it asks which bond.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, aid or interfere. Bond with Kinner.
Nice.
11.
That is 11. So he gets a plus 1 and gets a 10. So show me what that looks like. How do you help Kinna navigate here?
That's a great question. And my answer would be no, I think well, there's 2 routes this can go. One route is that maybe like Ornn and Kinna had gone on like a maybe tiny adventure together, just like wandering. Maybe that doesn't make much sense. Or 2, it could just be
You did have the time after you left New Water Nest. You guys came down Sifwesi on the little riverboat on the river. Do you remember that?
Yeah, so maybe I noticed something that he missed and pointed it out to him. I imagine him with like a little map or and pointing it out to him.
I actually don't know that he has a map. I think he's kind of going off of like he's the kind of person that can like hold a map in his head.
Well,
And
I sense a confusing look in his eye.
Is that kind of thing.
I sense a confusing look, and then say like, "Oh, hey, doesn't this tree look familiar?"
Yeah, I think that's a cool way to explain that you kind of have that built experience with you sort of know each other's language a little bit when you're out in the wild. Man, these cars are going crazy tonight. So you're able to help him with that. So that means he does the thing. Hey, now here's a question. Does that mean they do it as well as one could reasonably hope? So does that count as a 10 plus, or is that a 7 to 9?
Well, we bumped it up to a 10.
Right, but so you're rolling for him to do their thing move. So I don't know if that means that he would, as if he rolled a 10 plus on the navigate. I guess we'll call it that.
I would think so.
Yeah, what would be the point of?
Great. So that says you avoid dangers and distractions and make good time, reaching a point of the GM's choosing before you need to make camp. So he is, like I said, sort of he has that comfort here in the wilds, even though things are dangerous. And you guys are able to make it to this camp, or to the area that was described to you before it gets in sort of like early evening, basically. So you make really good time sort of through the wilds here. And when you get there, you see as you get closer and closer, there's a little bit of can you step out into some kind of a clearing ish from the sort of more heavily forested area that you were going through, sort of clears out a little bit, and there is you're on sort of like high ground, and the sort of ground sort of falls away from you a little bit, and then goes out so you can sort of see a good distance, and just sort of before the ground kind of falls away like that, there are these bunch of big stone kind of pillars that are sort of like jutting out of the ground, and these are varying like diameters, but I'd say the smallest one is probably like at least like 6 to 8 feet across, and the bigger ones are like uh, 30, 40, 50 feet across. And at the top of them, as the sun is sort of starting to get low out on the horizon in front of you, and you see the big purple sort of moon in the sky. I forget if I had basically I'm thinking of this moon as like as if it was like a gas planet kind of a thing, but it's like this sort of swirly purple, and also what we would recognize as like a ring around the planet. That's also up in the sky too, just sort of to imagine what you're sort of looking out on. And up on top of many of these sort of big pillars are these trees that kind of like glisten in the light of the falling sun here, as if they were like wet, basically. It's kind of hard to see because most of them are pretty high up. I think we're talking like 40, 50 feet up in the air. And as you're looking up towards one of towards the group of these, you can see one that is distinctly charred. What do you guys do?
I think I'd ask Kinna if he knows what this place is.
He points up to the charred tree, and says, "Well, that's what Lelesh told us, wasn't it? In the hollow of a large burned water bark. Those are water barks. So looks like a camp's up there."
But all these pillars, are these natural formations?
Oh, sure. You haven't been I keep forgetting you haven't been out in the wilds much. You never know what to expect out here. Some find it terrifying. Honestly, I think it's a little thrilling. You turn around the corner and you never know what you're going to see.
You're a weird guy, Kenna, but I like you.
I could say the same.
Yeah, let's climb this bitch then.
All right. So the you get up closer to these things and you can see most of them are pretty smooth-sided and more or less kind of like straight vertical. So it would yeah, I mean basically it's going to take some figuring out to get up here. Kinna's sort of like walking around looking for things that you could like try and handhold and climb. He's like looking over at other ones to see if you could like climb up shorter ones and you know like jump across the tops of some and he hasn't been able to find anything. I'm assuming you guys are probably doing similar things.
Can we grappling hook up them?
Sure. Do you have a grappling hook?
I have adventuring gear.
You have adventuring gear. So mark off one use of your adventuring gear. And so you're declaring that you're pulling a grappling hook. So this is some kind of roll here. I think the so like I said, the one that at least the one that this tree is on is probably a good you know, like 50 feet up in the air. You can probably hook up to another one that's a little bit shorter nearby, and then try and get across from there. But I don't know that the length of any reasonable rope would be able to you know, would be able to get you all the way up to the top of the one with the burnt tree on it. So trying to decide what kind of roll this would be. I don't know if this is just like a defy danger or if this is maybe like a well, but you're doing damage. Say like a volley. I think it's just a defy danger. I will take some pitches as to how what you want to roll that with. If you can give me a good explanation.
Well, I don't know if I'm the one to throw the grappling hook. I think maybe the call is for Ornn to throw the grappling hook because he's the strong boy.
I can throw a hook of grappling.
So you toss the grappling hook over to Ornn, and so are you looking then to make a defy danger strength? Is that the what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Just looking to sling that thing up there?
It would definitely be strength.
All right, give me that defy danger strength.
Defy danger strength. 8.
That is there should be you should be able to roll like the actual defy danger move. I'll take that 8, but just roll it again just so we get the text.
2D. Oh wait, hang on a second. That's weird.
There you go. That's the same result. Anyway. Okay, so on a 9, partial success, you stumble, hesitate, or flinch. The GM will offer you a worse outcome, hard bargain, or ugly choice. Let's see. So I think what happens here is you get the hook up there, but you don't feel like you have all that great of like a secure hook for it at wherever you reached it to the top. So I think just by sort of like judging the kind of the tug on it after you've pulled it, it's you could probably guess that it's at the very least not going to support Ornn your weight on it. But it's like up there, and it feels like it might be sort of like kind of snagged in some like thicket, like brush or something. So you can't like pull it back down necessarily. But it's
I'll go up.
great. So
I'm a wee little man.
you are a wee little man. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and make a defy danger. I guess dex for me. To see how you're getting up the rope, but also sort of kind of getting yourself up once you're there. Fantastic. You do what you set out to do. The threat does not come to bear. So you're able to climb up this rope and get yourself kind of lodged up in the tree here. Like I said, these sort of big sort of glistening trees that are up here. Once you get sort of closer to them, you can see it's as if there is almost like sort of small amounts of water kind of being like poured slowly down the outside of these trees. That just gets sort of like sucked back into the ground. It's just this really weird, kind of bizarre thing. It doesn't like move as fast as water. You suspect it could be some kind of like sap or something. It's like a little bit sticky, and whatnot. But you are able to sort of get up here, and what do you do from there?
I'm gonna pull out the grappling hook and reset it so that
Great.
it can support their weight.
Fantastic. That sounds good to me. I think you'll have to figure out how to get yourself off before anyone else can come up, because you're at the sort of the top of this thing where this tree is taking up most of the basically all the room at the top of this pillar. Like I'm imagining the roots of it sort of like kind of falling out around the edges of the top of it, kind of a thing, and sort of clawing back into the sides of it at the top. So in order to get over to the camp, basically, that you can see now, there's this burnt tree that looks like it has some of it like hollowed out, and you can from this angle see the makings of some kind of little campsite there in it. But it's still, I think it's still like it's up about 10 feet and across like another 15 sort of horizontally, basically.
So we need to get both of them up here into the tree, and then we can try to make another grapple over to it.
Right. But like I said, it would be some kind of a thing to try and get all three of you up here at the same time. Because you're sort of you roll your dex well, but and so you are kind of what could be considered a sort of precariously perched, up on this, like a little like ledge, or on the curl of some root or something. That would be very easy to like lose your balance and go tumbling off, basically.
Well, I don't want to just leave them down there. That's no fun. Are there any lower ledges on that pillar?
The one you're going to?
Mm-hmm.
No, not that you can see. Because you guys did look around.
I mean, can I look around at the bottom for like any other way up?
I mean, from what you guys already looked, I don't. You haven't seen any other way. Otherwise, you already would have found something.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just try to make the grapple over to it, I guess.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be a good way to get us all up here.
Sure. Go ahead and make that defy danger for me. Is that strength again? Just sort of chucking it, or?
Well, we're only going, like you said, 10 feet.
Mm-hmm. Like 10 feet up and 15 feet across. So whatever the hypotenuse of that is.
So I feel like right now it's a kind of a finesse.
So trying to make sure you get in the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll buy that.
So Dex?
Sure. Okay.
Sure
You
hope I didn't stumble.
stumble, hesitate, or flinch. GM offers you a worse outcome, hard bargain, or ugly choice. Okay, so I think you're able to get the hook over there. But as all of you have kind of spent some time figuring this out, basically, it's now starting to get on a little more into the evening, and it's the sun's starting to set. And as you are sort of working at this, you get the grappling hook in, and you're just about able to get it in a spot where you feel confident that you can kind of swing across or whatever and climb up. You hear this horrifying shriek off to the north, and it is the sound of some kind of
I heard it.
Yeah, that was it right there. It's this almost like the sound that the ring wraiths make in Lord of the Rings. Sort of like take that kind of like the bones of that kind of thing. I think give it a little more sort of like undertones and some sort of like bassiness or something to it to indicate something of size, and that's the kind of thing you hear, and you can see the trees off in some area kind of shaking. There's a bunch of birds that go flying up into the air, uh, and so you now have this large something that is nearby, and I think this sort of flock of birds or whatever that come flying out and past in your direction. they're not like small birds. I think they're at least uh um the size of like uh like ostriches, I guess. But they are like, flying birds. You can see as they fly past that some of them are um wounded and a little bloody. And the ones that are wounded and bloody, you can see these little swarms of those like hummingbird mosquito things sort of pecking around at it. And those go flying overhead. And I think one of them that is wounded and sort of being swarmed by these little things falls as they're flying, sort of like loses its capability of flight, and basically like falls and crashes right into the side of the trunk with a like a thud, and hits the top of the pillar over there, right where you're about to go.
So there are a bunch of angry mosquitoes over there.
Mm-hmm. What do you do?
I swing across.
Great. You do that. I'll call that all in your. Yeah, I mean, you rolled that. That's your device. So you're able to get over there and get across. So yeah, you can see the top of this pillar is a little bigger, so it's bigger than just the area of the tree. There's now that you're closer, you can see that there is the inside of this big tree. There's like a sort of doorway-ish kind of crack opening in it, and there is like hollowed out in the inside, like the like a good 10-15 foot kind of diameter sort of like space room on the inside of this charred tree, and the corpse of flying ostrich thing with mosquito birds buzzing around it, and some of them start kind of buzzing over close to you, and look like they might, they're sort of like moving in and out, sort of close to you, sort of kind of noticing you and sizing you up or whatever.
I look at him just deadpan and go, "Fuck off! I'm not food."
What's going on with you guys down on the ground here? Are you just like looking up and watching?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what we can be doing. I don't really like. I think, yeah, Ornn is just kind of like watching carefully. I mean, maybe like following on like on the ground, like where they're going, like what's happening and what's going on, like being aware. He's like starting to get very like suspicious and anxious about what's going on. So he's like, like his head's like on a swivel.
Yeah. And as soon as that like screech goes up and you see the the whole like hummingbird mosquito things happens, you definitely down there see Kinnarenth is like on high alert now. And when he sees the bird like fall up there, he looks over at you and says, there is something very dangerous in this area, and it's going to come looking for that. And then shouts. Yeah, I think he shouts up to you, Brakk. As you're sort of getting up there, he shouts up, "We better hurry this up and find some shelter. This could get bad quickly."
I want to let down the rope so that they can make their way up here.
Mm-hmm. So if you let down the rope, I think there's still like. I mean, what's a reasonable length for a rope to be, like sort of in the 50-foot area? I feel like that's like your standard D&D rope, isn't it? 50 feet.
I think so.
So I think with the way you have to sort of like find something to hook it in that's stable, whatever, you're still probably about like 15, 20 feet short of the ground. Probably higher than I think Ornn even you could jump reasonably. And Kinnarenth is sort of like I think he's got two like short bows basically because he's got 4 arms, so he's got one in each set of 2 arms. He's got arrows like knocked and has his back to the pillar basically, and says, "Come on, we gotta get up there." He's like, "Don't you? Can't you like fly or something? You got some kind of magic? I don't know. I don't know how that stuff works."
What? I don't know how it works either. Do I?
He's referring to your animancy. But like I said, I mean, he obviously has little idea of how that works.
I don't have
what
animancy
are
written in my stuff at all.
Oh, well, you should.
That
What
is why I haven't used it.
do I have to go looking for? Do you know what elements you took?
I don't remember doing that.
I mean, this would have all happened when you took your thing and got your bracer and all that jazz. Let me.
I remember writing it down, but where did I write it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, well, yeah, that's why definitely I've been just sitting here like, what is, like, I don't know what I was supposed to do.
I should have this written down. What your elements are. Your wyvern. You have blood and bone are your 2 elements.
Right.
So if you look at the animancy handout,
Yeah, you sent me a link to that.
it's in the handout tier 2. In the journal section tab.
Hey,
Dan,
Yeah.
just for the record, you can double click the title of something, like the page you're on it right now, and if you double click animancy, it's
That's
amazing. I've noticed that you've been opening up like both of our character sheets multiple times.
That is amazing.
wait, do I have the same thing or not?
Yeah, I mean anybody can do that's fantastic.
double clicking, nothing's happening.
Like the name of the handout or the sheet or whatever, and it'll like minimize basically.
Oh,
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So basically, quick sort of crash course on animancy here. There's 2 things you can do with animancy if you're following along on the sheet here. You're using one of your 2 elements. Basically, so when you're rolling, so when you perform a spell under the primary element of your soul beast, your modifier on the roll can't be less than 0. You're rolling with int. But I guess that doesn't apply to you because I think your int is 0 anyway. Yeah, so it can be less than 0. And then you can do things under the other elements as well with some penalties. But so you can do 2 things. So you can when you perform an animatic spell to help solve a problem, so that's like non damage basically. Choose the element you wish to use, describe what you do, and roll plus int. Accounting for those modifiers, and it does some stuff. Then you can also do damage with it, and that's like a bit of a different thing. You get some tags and blah blah blah. So the whole sort of animancy system it's pretty abstract. It's like a different system of magic that the one of the other like supplemental sort of rewritten class books have. So basically, the limit of what you can do with it is you wanna go with the the elements that you have. So yours are blood and bone. So if you look at the sort of
Right.
the way that those are written, so bone is foundation, rigidity, resilience, and size, and blood is fluidity, warmth, and source of strength. Um,
Right.
so that's just like sort of a guideline, and then anything you can sort of like think of or imagine in that kind of a context, like like for instance in the fight, the last fight for what was like I want to use my I guess it was instinct, I think, to like basically like haste myself and make myself like super quick. Um, Things like that. I'm trying to think of some other examples that people have done or things that you've seen.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what would bone or blood be used to.
If it's helpful to think of it in terms of like some like D&D spells to sort of like go off as a base. Um, I mean, so here, um,
Like, can I increase my size like to reach it?
um, that, um, yeah, I mean, that's a possibility.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Sorry.
Let's go ahead and give that a whirl then. If that's what you want to do. So that's so you're choosing the bone element and rolling plus int, which doesn't have any extra modifiers because you're already at 0, not below it.
So,
Great.
can I just make an intelligence roll then?
So roll, yes, you could do that.
Okay. And there's no additions to this. It's just straight up and down.
Correct.
That is a failure.
That is a failure. Okay, so on a miss, something's gone horribly wrong. Your spell may well have worked, but you will regret casting it.
Great.
So your intent is to try and like grow a little bit so you can get the grab the rope, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you do this, what would let's see, what do reptile eyes look like? They're sort of like those vertical slits, or are they like horizontal slits? Because anytime you use your animancy, your eyes turn into like the eyes of whatever your soul beast is.
Ooh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you like try and do this, and your sort of like eyes turn into like wyvern eyes, basically. Um, and so think of like, I don't know, think of what like Smaug's eyes look like, or whatever. But you sort of like feel the presence and the connection with this wyvern, this like beast of terrible carnage and power, and you try and sort of focus that to grow and to increase your size, and I think it actually works, but in a very uncontrolled way. So I think what ends up happening is you sort of feel this kind of power of this animacy stuff sort of like course through you, and you uh like expand and grow like quite rapidly, um and then um all of a sudden sort of like pop back, like snap back to size, as you like. It's like you feel that rush of power, and then I think your instinct is to just like then immediately like clamp back down on it. I think considering the character, does that make sense?
Yes.
Sort of
Yes.
understand what I'm saying? So like you
Yeah.
feel this immense rush of this power that like sort of grows you to, much bigger than your size, and then your sort of instinct then is to sort of like to quick sort of like clamp back down on that, and you sort of snap back into this smaller thing. So you're now sort of like that like 15 feet like up in the air, and have snapped back down into this smaller, normal sized thing, um, and so you're now like in the middle of the air. I think you are kind of going towards this rope, so there's a possibility that you could make that like grab if you want to. That's gonna be a roll, but in the process of you doing this, I think you then also attract the attention of some of these um, uh, mosquito hummingbird things, and they start sort of flying down at you, um, coming in to sort of swoop in at you aggressively. Um, what do you do?
Yeah, so I will try to grab onto the rope.
Okay, that sounds like a Defy Danger Dex to me.
Defy danger with dexterity, which is +0. Fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Okay, that is a 6. I am so a good part of the reason that we have these NPCs here is they basically give you a free aid if we can sort of narratively do it. So I will give you a +1 from Kinnarenth if we can think of a good way that he is helping you do this. I know what this is. So you sort of like burst grow and then sort of end up in the air here, and you're sort of like madly trying to like scramble and grab at this rope as you start falling back down. These like mosquito hummingbirds are sort of diving at you, and uh, Kinnarenth immediately like spins over and starts shooting arrows at the hummingbird things, um, and if you have the half moment to see him as he's doing this, or like Brakk, if you're watching, I don't know how well you'd be able to see this from up that high, but he does not look like good about doing that. Like you can tell that he's like, you can see fear in his eyes as he's doing this. Um, but you you are able to grab that rope, but as he's doing so, he sort of like hits a couple of these mosquito birds, and as he hits them, they kind of like pop, and spray blood, basically, and you get covered in it, and a bunch of it also falls down onto to Kinnarenth. And as you've grabbed on that rope, you can start to hear the fear sort of like coming into his voice, and he is trying to sort of get up and get like a hand, or something, and he's like, "We have to go now."
Yeah, I mean, is there a way for us to pull him up, or is he just kind of stuck down there?
Yeah, I think we can sort of make a move where he's trying to jump, and if you are kind of on the bottom of the rope, that's an extra like, what? Say that again. Sorry.
Holding like down my.
Mm-hmm. Because you're an extra like 8 feet on the bottom of that rope.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a thing that can be happen. That sounds like a defy danger strength to sort of be able to sort of grab him and sort of like haul him, almost like throw him up higher on the rope.
That's AJ's bread and butter.
8. So
8. Great. So you stumble, hesitate, or flinch. So you are. Yeah, so you're able to sort of get a hold on this, and you are able to swing Kinna up. But as you've now gotten this blood splattered on you and stuff, you hear that horrendous screech again. And Brakk, from up in your position, you see from where you saw those trees kind of rumbling and moving around, burst up from the trees this enormous, like, dragon-sized flying beast. It's covered in feathers. It's got 4 like wing arms in the front, and then a set of legs in the back. A long tail, and this huge, like, sort of mohawky crest of feathers on its top, with this like real gnarly looking beak, and and it sort of screeches, and it is coming for you guys.
Good.
What do y'all do?
I run and throw the dead bird off the top of the tower.
Okay, you do that.
I am going to try to just like. So did I get Kinna up there?
Yeah, the two of you are up on the rope.
Okay. Is there any way I can help Kinna get up there quicker? Like, is he on me or on the rope?
I think he's above you. I think I'm imagining you sort of like swinging a hand or something down to him, and then just sort of like heaving him up and like throwing him up above you onto the rope. So he's already, like, he's got 4 arms. He's like already chugging up the rope there.
Yeah, then I'm doing that same thing.
Great. I think that sounds like another defy danger, just because the imminency. 13. All right. So you guys are able to kind of hoof it up this rope, as you see this huge bird dragon thing sort of like screeching towards you as the sun is sort of setting, and it's now getting starting to get dark. And it starts kind of, it takes a I mean, it closes in fast, and it takes a sort of a dive towards the side of the tower, but you guys are able, specifically towards you and Kinna, Ornn, the two of you that are yeah. And then you now have more of these sort of like mosquito bug things, bird things, sort of starting to form around you with the blood on you, and some of them go diving off after the bird corpse, Brakk. So there's not really any up by you anymore, but it takes a dive. Sort of from a height down towards the side of the pillar, but you guys are able to sort of get up, sort of hauling up enough that you sort of manage to evade the first dive, and it goes up and circles back around the other way, and sort of makes an angle in towards the second dive. What do you guys do?
I'm gonna take a shot at it while it's up there.
Okay. As the other two are climbing.
Yeah.
Before, I'm still climbing. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit! I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. Yeah. That's a good volley.
That's a good volley. Let me. Find a thing here. Okay, so you have a clear shot. Deal your damage.
All right. Oh, that's just the bonus damage.
That's from your beast strike, right?
Yep. That is a heck of a lot of damage.
So 10 damage. So you shoot this animantically empowered arrow, and we said that like it's like a breath thing, right? So it just like streaks like super fast out of this bow and has like this kind of trail to it as it streaks across the side. You nail it like right at the like basically the shoulder of one of its wings, and the front left of its four wings basically sort of like takes half a stumble, and it sort of like dips halfway in the sky as it's going, and then sort of gives another huge like gust forward, and is still coming at you. Ornn, what are the two of you guys doing?
Can I try something else after that?
Sure. What do you have in mind?
So, my animancy is breath. Can I use that to, like, to make my voice louder?
Sure. That's totally a thing that you could do. That's a fun use. I like that.
The problem is I have no bonuses to my animancy right now because of beast strike on both of mine.
What does that say? That means
I have a -1 ongoing.
Okay, -1 ongoing to animancy.
So
-1 forward. All right, go ahead and make that roll. So that's a solve a problem animancy.
Yeah. And I rolled with -1 forward.
And got an 11.
I did got an 11.
That is fantastic. The spell certainly helps, but choose one. So choose one from that list.
Okay.
Because that's the, I mean, this is the sort of power check on this, that you can basically do whatever you want to do, but even when you roll sort of that full success, there's still a limit to it. That's the kind of the balance of this, basically. Yeah.
All right. I'll do the casting saps your energy.
And take another -1 ongoing.
Yep. To animancy.
So what's your soul beast again?
He's like a pupper dog.
Oh, a dog,
like
right?
Like a cocker spaniel.
So what is it? What is it you shout here with your enormous? Oh, I closed that tab again, didn't
I? I just bellow. There is no prey here.
I love it, and that just thunders out of your. I think you can even see like a visual bit of a shock wave. I mean, this is like totally Fusro kind of thing. Like there's like as if there's a huge wind that just like came out of your mouth. And that like just like booms across the like down the valley, and out, and you hear another just horrifying, just like gut chilling shriek from this thing as it sort of like flaps all of its wings sort of like forward once to sort of like kind of like hover in place for half a second. And then turns and sort of wheels off in another direction, and you have scared it off. But in doing that, I think with this immense sort of amount of energy that you push out, I think it sort of like puts you down to one knee for half a second, and your, like I said, your sort of eyes go to like dog eyes. For that second, which is a funny image to see little like puppy eyes in this like huge
those irregular pupils.
And sort of like you hit one knee on the ground as you hear, and you can hear this like kind of dog howling in your mind as it feels further away than you're used to feeling it. This
Mm-hmm.
Great. So you are here, and Kinna, immediately as the two of you get to the top, oh right, this one's burnt. He immediately takes out like a water skin that he has, and kind of motions for Ornn you to do the same thing, and just starts like pouring it on himself to sort of wipe all this blood off as best he can. I think he like rips, he sort of like pulls his shirt off, and tries to sort of like wring it out, and we need to get the blood off. We need to get the blood off, or that thing's gonna be back.
Ornn does the same.
Great. So now we've got two shirtless men on top of a pillar. So while you guys are doing that, that goes on, and it's starting to get dark. What are you guys doing now? Now you are up here in this little camp.
I mean, is this where we need to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where we're supposed to be getting.
This is the camp that you were directed to, where Arnid, the sort of the contact agent, was staying.
Yeah, I mean, Ornn's just getting right back into it. He's gonna start looking around.
So, just from a basic look here, you can see, as you sort of poke your head into this this trunk of this tree, that's like been kind of hollowed out by whatever sort of hit this. It's it looks like some kind of crazy like as if it was hit by like a lightning or something, but like a really like powerful lightning. And there's just like all sorts of like scorch marks and burn lines and all that kind of stuff all over the place. But the inside of this is sort of hollowed out. There's a little sort of enough room for kind of a little like fire pit kind of a thing. A little like mat bedroll on the side, and a couple other little like shelves and racks of things. But as you start looking around in here, it looks like not like the place has been tossed, but it is kind of a mess. And there's some things like turned over, and like little some bowls and things that are sort of like tipped all over the ground, and so it is a little bit of a mess. So this, to go look around here, this sounds to me like at least somebody is doing a discern realities to see what's up here.
Can I take this time to just kind of slink inside and rest and try to recover my
Yes, absolutely. That means that either Ornn or Kinnarenth is doing the discern realities roll.
Yeah, I think that took it out of Brakk.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I'd believe that.
especially with already having his animantic link weakened by maintaining the bow at all times.
Right. Yeah, that's gotta kind of hurt a little bit. Well, fantastic. So you rolled a 3 on your discern realities. Kinna could help you, but it's not going to do anything. Are you there?
Ajay?
Hello?
Didn't know I was muted.
Excellent.
Well, you were.
I said, "Oh boy, I failed," and then I said, "Can Kinna just make a roll on his own since he can't even help?"
Yes. That's a possibility. I think I could buy that. I don't know if that's like strictly the way that the rules go, but
but I think that would have been your help roll. So,
Well, I mean, if each of us are looking around, like it wouldn't just be like you get into this camp and then just one person is looking around, everyone else is just standing around.
right. Yeah. So I think what that means here is that he could roll here as well, but you wouldn't be able to help him in any way on that either.
Correct.
That you're, and sort of fictionally, what that would look like is that you're both looking in kind of separate places here.
and apparently AJ went and looked in like the shitter.
Yeah, no. Like,
I found where she poops out back.
yeah, I literally just found like other people's just like trash.
AJ found a different camp not related to the camp we're looking for.
I mean, I literally rolled the worst possible roll I could possibly roll.
What you did? You rolled double ones. That's amazing.
I do so bad. I take 25 damage.
Just,
Have you been marking XP, AJ, when you fail?
die.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. So this is within the scope of Kinnarenth's tags or moves or expertise, whatever. So, AJ, why don't you go ahead and roll a do their thing for Kinnarenth? So that is 2d6 plus 2 for his quality. So /R space 2d6 plus 2.
Yeah, I did it again where I almost didn't put the /R. /R space 2d6. Where's the plus sign? On a keyboard.
Right next to the backspace.
Ooh, there that bad boy is. Plus, that's equals, plus 2. Bam.
There it is. So
That's
you
spicy 11.
That is Kinna pulling it through here. Okay, so here's how we'll kind of paint this scene basically. So you, Ornn, you're trying to poke around, but I think it is reasonable to assume that you are pretty spent from this, like emotionally and physically. I think from that whole thing, and I think it's actually like kind of cool to see Kinna like sort of in his element here a little bit. and that you like even after the craziness that just like happened, like you see him just like he's going to work. Like both of you are like kind of out for the count here, and he's like digging through this the stuff that's been tossed around, and um, looking through the ashes of the campfire, and all this sort of stuff. So as you Ornn, I I don't want to make decisions for a character here, but my version of this scene has you sort of like looking around, like half exhausted, and then after a little bit, you just kind of like plop down over next to Brakk, sort of like laid out on this bedroll or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. At this point, we're snuggle buddies.
That's not canon.
It's like that sounds like a bond to me.
Brakk is like trying to meditate and reconnect with his soul beast.
Ornn comes in, just passes out, and just starts like snoring right in.
Snoozing.
He does this like the he's like doing the and then like opens up the one eye when he starts hearing the snoring. It's like kind of infuriated with Ornn.
Ah, great. Okay, so as you guys are sort of doing that, and Kinna's doing this his thing, he brings to your attention a few things that he was able to find. He so he finds in one of the sort of like piles of things that have been dumped over, there's a bunch of bloody rags. And among those, he finds a really like kind of wicked looking arrow that is also quite bloody, and says this must have been that wound that she had. He holds it up and sort of looks at it and turns it over, and he's like, "This is a Gelwalker arrow." And then goes back to sort of digging around in the bandages, and comes across a piece of parchment that was sort of tucked in among them, and says, she must have dropped this here. Because I think he's kind of doing that like thing Aragorn does when they find the big pile of Uruk-hai. Yeah, he's like doing that kind of thing.
Is he gonna break his toe?
He's not gonna break his toe.
On a helmet?
No. He's got big bare feet. It'd be really hard to break a toe of those. But he's like doing the kind of thing where he's like, she rushed in. She was wounded. The arrow. She tried to patch herself up quickly, but she was clearly moving quickly. She must have been trying to rush out. She must have dropped this among the bandages. And he looks at it, and it's a note that has a few kind of little like drawings on it. And he reads it off, and it says, above the falls, through the eastern gorge, fourth entrance past the gnarled Gwerus. And he sort of like gives a little cock of a head. And he says, Gwerus. And explains to you that a Gwerus is basically a large reptile that has like 3 heads, basically. I mean, he says he doesn't want to get into the specifics of it, but it's not native to this area at all. Like its native habitat is pretty far away. So he thinks that's odd. I can write that in the chat here just so we have a record of it. Sorry, let me write this and then talk. That's probably through the Eastern Gorge, fourth entrance past the gnarled Gwerus. And then as he's sort of like tracing more of her sort of movements, he's sort of digging around and goes, "Oh, what's this?" And kind of digs up a little a small box that had been buried kind of hastily. And inside there is a little sort of circular metallic some kind of medallion. And he, does a similar thing with the arrow where he sort of like holds it up. 'Cause it's getting kind of dark now. I think he probably pulls out some kind of a torch or something, and is looking around and holds it up, and he says, This is in Faith. What is going on here?" And then kind of continues to trace her path, and then sees that she basically exit, and runs off, and that's where she headed towards New Water Nest to get in contact with Lelesh.
Huh.
And he says, This is strange. I don't know that there will be much sense of this made right now. We should camp here for the night."
I think before we set up camp, Brakk would ask, what is the significance of it being an Enfaith artifact?
He's I'm sure you've seen that Enfaith are very rare in civilized territory. Supposedly there is some kind of an enclave of them somewhere. No one really knows where. But they are a secretive people. This does not seem like some insignificant trinket. It seems like this has some meaning to it. Why Ornn would have this, I cannot guess.
Very well. We need to report all of this to Lelesh in the morning. Let's make camp.
All right. So we are going to make camp. When you settle into rest, choose one member of the party to manage provisions. That is a move. Then, if you eat and drink and have enough XP, you may level up. If you're bedding down in dangerous lands, decide on a watch order. Then the GM chooses one person on watch during the night to roll plus nothing. And then some things happen. So, who wants to manage those provisions? That is a plus whiz roll.
I've got +1 to wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too. But you got it.
No, you go for it, AJ.
My rolls have been poopy.
Well, here's your
Am I
chance.
just rolling
Chance to redeem yourself.
wisdom
So
or
plus whiz, yeah. When you prepare and distribute food for the party, roll plus whiz.
I like the idea of the giant being the cook.
Great. That's 7.
So we
On
did
a 7 to 9, the party consumes the expected amount of rations, 1 per person if making camp, 1 per person per day if making a journey. So everybody consumes 1 ration.
Dungeon rations.
There you go.
-1.
And then Then we have to do. So who's gonna? I think Kinna offers to take first watch, as you guys are pretty pooped here. Um. So. We're gonna have somebody. Then GM chooses one person on watch during the night to roll plus nothing. Does anybody want to do that? Or
What about that lovely stay sharp?
we could also have Kinna. So stay sharp is when you are on watch and something approaches.
Oh,
So basically, so we roll this the watch,
So, you.
and then if the watch goes poorly, it can turn into a stay sharp.
okay.
So have Chris do it then.
I'll make a roll.
We could also have Kinna roll it if you want. But this is going to be either way. It's going to be plus nothing.
2d6, 1d6.
2d6.
That's a great roll from me.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
Do I get to mark mark experience for that?
6 minus. Everyone marks XP.
Oh, you're both welcome. Both being me and AJ.
And a danger manifests. You'd better stay sharp.
I'm gonna stay sharp.
So when you are on watch and roll, and something approaches, roll plus whiz. Go ahead and make that wisdom roll. That is a 7. So 7 and 9 is you manage to sound the alarm, but no one has time to prepare.
Oh no, I'm naked.
AJ sleeps in the nude.
Fight a battle with my wee wee out. That's no good.
Good.
Darn it.
So, based on all of that, I think what happens. We need to decide an order for the watch. Also, because I think that's potentially important.
Well, you said Kinna was gonna go first.
Kinna was gonna go first. Did you want to go second or third?
I'll go third.
Okay.
Wow, I definitely got the worst shift, but that's okay.
You got the worst shift? Oh, it's fine.
The middle shift.
Yeah, the middle one's the worst because you get sleep in the beginning and then you have to be awake and then you sleep at the end.
I'm just trying to because the end of this says the end of the make camp is when you wake from at least a few hours of uninterrupted sleep, and you ate and drank the night before, heal damage equal to max. I mean, no one's missing health, are they? Anyway.
No, and none of us took actual
that
damage.
doesn't matter. Great. So, I think what happens here is, how many have you guys spent nights out in the wild yet?
No.
So this is...
No, we haven't, because I haven't had opportunity to use any of my fun wilderness shit.
So, yeah. So I think what happens is, I mean, for one, it is kind of crazy out here, because I would imagine both of you being sort of having some sort of military, and being able to sort of rough it in that kind of context. You're probably comfortable with sort of being able to tell your direction by the stars and those sorts of things. But it's probably kind of unsettling here to look up and see. I mean, for one, this wild purple moon that's like really big, and this ring. But all these stars are so wild and foreign. They're also like lots of it's like some crazy colors, and there's, you know how on like really, really dark nights you can see like bits of the Milky Way and stuff like that, or like
Yeah.
you can tell that it's there.
I feel like we would have been able to see that from on board the ship while we were sailing too.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true. This is true. Um, uh, but yeah, it's that kind of effect, but I think it's more more present. Especially, I mean, you guys are out here in the total wilds, and but it's also, I think, a little more like colorful. I think there's some like reds and like maroons and some blues and that kind of stuff in these sort of almost like nebula like things. But anyway, so towards the morning hours, some of you have been able to get some sleep, but I think you're still probably kind of all a little bit on edge, and later on in that night, sort of more, like I said, sort of more towards the morning, you hear that screech again. And then you hear a second one from a different place.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And I think that's where we're going to finish for the night.
Wow. Leaving it on the cliffhanger. I mean, the good news is next time we do this, it's fighting time, and I'll get to make a roll that isn't a failure. Potentially.
Great. So
do we do end of session stuff
end
for
of
this thing?
session. Yes, absolutely we do. Okay, end of session. When you reach the end of the session, choose one of your bonds that you feel is resolved, completely explored, no longer relevant, or otherwise. Ask the player of the character you have the bond with if they agree. If they do, mark XP and write a new bond with whomever you wish. So, we'll start with Brakk. I know you had mentioned considering sort of dumping your Iridia bond and writing an Ornn bond. This seems like probably the time to do that.
I want to dump my Iridia bond. I was trying to think of what to do, but then I realized it was when he asked Lelesh, most importantly, how are you feeling?
That's
I wrote that down because as a doctor, that hit me.
Yeah.
So
hit you how? Like oh man, I should have done that, or like, oh, that's great to see that someone is looking after.
It was more like it was like he's got better bedside manner than I do. Kind of. And not because I'm like, he's not jealous of that or anything. He was just like, oh wow, this giant who I've seen rip a man in half
multiple times
is also quite kind and caring.
Yeah. I very much like that version of that too. That, you know, this person that you've seen do like horrible, awful things in this rage also has that kind of a side to it. I like that a lot. Because I think that also plays off of sort of everything going on with Ornn as a character to begin with. Especially like Ornn, you were talking about the that you feel comfortable with your sort of wild side with Fawit, and now Brakk is the one seeing your you know, your non-monster side.
Yeah, it's like the angel and the devil on your shoulder.
I love it.
Demon.
So
yeah.
I wrote
capable of terrible things, but he has a softer side that doesn't seem to be an act or a mask. Which one is the real Ornn?
Cool. I think, in addition to which one is the real Ornn, I think you should, as a character, make a decision which one you would like to try and foster, in a way, like to find that action in there. Whatever. Does that make sense? Whatever seems appropriate for Brakk.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. I love that. Okay, Ornn.
Well, I didn't really do much of anything. Because I didn't protect Brakk at all, because he kind of protected me more.
You did big magic.
He did. He's literally a big magic.
I did a big magic. I don't know what that means.
I could see this going two ways. I could see. I think there's.
I mean, I did some protecting of you, which I could see you then changing your opinion of, like, this desperate need to protect the squishy, in air quotes, versus seeing me as a more capable, like, partner rather than a.
Right. So instead of protect those who bring a lot of attention and don't protect themselves well, it would be protect those who bring a lot of attention because they're good at their job.
Yeah, I think there's something we can dig into a little deeper there, but I like that line of thinking. Trying to think. I like always thinking of specific moments.
I mean, it's definitely the moment where, like, Ornn is, like, freaking out trying to climb up this rope, and all of a sudden, like, even he is shocked at what just happened. Like, what
Yeah.
did, and was, like, able to one man
turn off the bird dragon.
I'm trying to climb up this, like, legitimately, Ornn's trying to climb up this to put his shield in front of Brakk. And Brakk won it. Like, and that's why I said, like, oh, wait, I'm still climbing up the rope, because I wanted to defend.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the moment.
I think there's something really great in there. Yeah, and maybe we can sort of think over that and mold that over a little bit, but
all right, for now I'll just change it to.
But yeah, think on that. Okay, once bonds have been updated, look at your alignment. If you fulfilled that alignment at least once this session, mark XP. Brakk, did you refuse to give up despite rejection or disaster?
I mean, I kind of feel like in a small way I did with the Keft. Just trying to explain away my ability to talk to animals with the innkeeper until she gave me the bird.
Yeah, I buy that. I mean,
so much so that I feel like you were done with it. You were just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
This is great. No, I could totally buy that. I mean, I also think just the you repeatedly trying to do this grappling hook thing and get up there, and that Fus Roda moment, I think would also certainly qualify for this. Because that was some. I mean, when you had Kinna freaked out there, and you're the one sort of still standing up there and just standing up and taking a friggin' shot at this bird dragon. And then when that didn't deter it fully, that you're like, nope, I got something else in here. Especially at the, doing that already at a disadvantage, right? That you really had to dig deep for that.
I mean, yeah, I'll take that, but I like
Yeah.
In my head canon, I'm taking the XP for arguing with the innkeeper. So
Meep.
and I got Meep,
Meep.
which that name came to me very quickly, and I'm actually really attached to it now.
I love it. That's wonderful. Okay, then answer these 3 questions as a group.
Wow, I guess don't get to.
Oh, I'm so
yeah.
sorry.
Come on.
Jeez.
Terrible. Ornn, did you endanger yourself to protect someone weaker than you?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment where I'm on the rope, I could have easily just started climbing up the rope, but I wanted to make sure that that Kinna was safe and actually grabbed them and threw them ahead of me.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
definitely that.
Dig it.
But anyway.
Mark that XP.
Yep.
Okay, now we can answer these 3 questions. Did we learn something new and important about the world?
Well, we learned that they're terrifying mosquito dragons. But I don't know if that's necessarily important or new to anyone but us. But I would say the possibility that the Enfaith conclave is somehow involved with the Gelwalker attacks or whatever it is that that's happening could be considered something new and important about the world.
I'll buy that.
More that we haven't learned, but we are learning.
Yeah. I'll take that. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy?
I mean, we ran him off once.
Yeah. I think that qualifies as overcome. It's certainly notable. Did we loot a memorable treasure?
The Enfaith artifact that was apparently so cool that Kinna was like, "What is this? Is no trinket."
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll give you that to you.
That does count.
I'll give that.
Well done, Chris.
Good
you
lawyer.
You backed yourself into that one by
yeah, sure. Fantastic. All right, I think that about does it, right?
What's the leveling up is your level plus how many? Is it
7? I want to say.
7. That's wild.
Are you almost leveled up again?
Yeah, in one game I'm already. So
I'm gonna hit 6. I think I did hit 6.
Yeah, I'm very.
Yeah, I did.
So, well, you gotta sleep again because you just got woken up.
True.
So you won't be able to level up until we sleep again. But you're more than welcome to sort of like pick out what you want when you level up. So if we do that like in the middle of the session or something, that we can do that quickly. Fantastic.
Cool. All right, I'm great that this worked and we were able to do the whole thing.
Yeah, I am also pleased with that. Oh, sorry, I just saw local N7 in the chat.
Hope you guys don't die.
Beautiful. No, in the Twitch chat.
Oh shoot, she say.
Beautiful. It's a good shout. So
Get them Dragon Bird.
So that
Like
that game,
the first people eliminated for the 8th time in a row.
That game that Erica Dayla and I played, the big like crazy creature thing that we all kept talking about, that they were like, oh no, this is terrible. That's the thing. That's the Dragon Bird.
Oh, and we're fighting 2 of them.
Yeah. So
Visibly.
we created it. We created it in that game, and now it's coming after you guys.
I should probably write something down about my
Hey, Michael.
thingies.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? Crash on stream again?
Nope, just sitting here being quiet, observing.
You could also just like watch on Twitch.
See, I did, but I don't know what I'm looking at.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. All right. Well, that'll do it for us for this evening. We should be back pretty soon if our schedule goes to plan, I think. So we have so this is our Into the Wilds arc. We'll also have whatever I named the other ones. I think we have the Returns and Retrievals arc. That's going to be Mathos, Fawit, and Zahida. And then the third thing we are going to be doing, it's probably best explained when we do it. But we're all going to be playing a game in a different system about the weird alternate dimension time copy community of yourselves that exists in the temples of the Cancrescens cartographers, which was a thing that happened a little while ago. So we'll talk over that and how fun and crazy that is, and we'll get to sort of that game will be about sort of playing kind of more as the community as a whole, in a sense. So it'd be a sort of a more zoomed out ish than this kind of a game, but we're going to be sort of talking about how they are kind of getting on and sort of setting up shop in those temples there, and it should be lots of fun, and I'm really excited about it.
Really excited to play Zaridia.
Yeah, I guess that is that what's going to happen.
Yeah, I made the decision right now that's what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing, because there's no because there are no Ornns there, because you got there after that happened, but there are Iridias.
A competent Iridia, and I'll come up with a voice. I'll do a character voice.
Do a good character voice for Iridia. But it's gonna be great because we're gonna have to like come up with a bunch of different versions of all those people, and I'm really excited about it. It's some great like alternate, reality of the fictional characters in a fictional world inside of a fictional world. Okay, great. That'll do it for us for the night. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for joining us. Okay, bye.